All right, let's go ahead and get rolling. Thanks everyone for hopping on now. Thanks for joining us every week for these um, agent webinars, and in particular this Sales Trenches series. We're having a lot of fun with it. Our goal here is again to give you guys the tools that you need out in the trenches to win over merchants in the moment, how to attack individual situations. We've covered a bunch of different payment technologies over the past few weeks. We've had representatives from Clover, from Valor, from Deja Vu, highlighting where, certain technologies are going to be a great fit for some of your merchants and where it might not be such a great fit. We don't have a guest on here today. I'm going to kind of guide us through a few things. I think we're going to probably move a little bit faster today, probably end up a little bit early. But before we get into that, again, thanks for joining us. Here at Host, again, your success as independent sales agents is our top priority. We're committed to providing you all exceptional support along with your merchants, dedicated guidance, fast responses, quick approvals, real solutions to really help you build a business and a book of business that's going to be happy and stick around for a long time. You and your merchants enjoy 24/7 tech support, US-based tech support. You have personal relationship managers that know your business and help you achieve streamlined merchant approvals and get people up and running really fast. Again, the focus of the Trenches episodes here recently has been technology. And again, we've had several interviews with different tech reps from Valor, from Deja Vu, from Clover, from Swipe Simple. And you all have lots of awesome technology options to put the exact perfect technology in front of your merchants so that you're able to close them all. Okay. We've also covered some other tech options from our in-house software team with the Cloud Manager Suite, and a lot of you have been booking demos, continue to book demos there, and to get merchants boarded on those. Those are great sticky solutions. Again, if you have anyone that's in the gym or fitness world, if you have anyone that's in the kind of contractor or services industry, if you have anyone in the property management world, you really want to think about whether they might be a fit for those cloud softwares, because once we can get your merchants working, with Cloud Manager Suite, that's going to cause them to stick around longer. All right, so let's go ahead and hop in here and we'll dive into the trenches. All right, so again, this week is mostly about gateways and about giving you all the information that you need to be able to find a need in your merchant and quickly know what's going to be a fit for them, what's not going to be a fit for them. Again, the focus here is solution-based selling in the real world. We like to focus on real-world payment sales conversations, how to competitively position your solution against other solutions that the merchants may be using at that time. Give you a practical strategy that you can use immediately to get out and win business. Today's objective, again, is to help you all know which gateway is going to fit a merchant's particular needs. We're going to talk about a few instances where a merchant says, hey, I really need fill in the blank, right? And you want to be able to tell them, well, you want to be able to know, of course, right away, what's going to be a fit and what's not going to be a fit. And you want to be able to, with confidence, say, this is where I think you should be and why. Okay. You want to be able to position gateways against the competition as well. If you find out that they're using a certain technology, this will hopefully give you some insight as to, oh, well, you're using authorize.net, but did you want to be able to do text to pay? Did you want to be able to do a QR code or something like that? Well, if you've ever thought about doing that, you can't do that with your current technology. So why don't we talk about getting you in a solution that's going to not only meet what you're doing now, but also improve what you can do in the future. Again, some pictures of some of the different gateways and payment tech that we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so again, common merchant questions. You're going to want to obviously figure out what they need, what their biggest key needs are. You're going to want to figure out where are those payments happening. Are they happening, online? Are they also happening in person? Are they happening at a terminal? Do they need to happen with a busy person that's just got to take tap to pay on their cell phone, stuff like that? Does speed matter? Do they need to be able to take that payment, right there in the field as opposed to taking information down and bringing it back to the office and entering it into a virtual terminal later? Or do we want to know while, the electrician is actually sitting in the house, and whether we're clear and good to go? And again, of course, what matters most, you want to get to we've talked a lot about identifying pain points. That's really important here. What matters most to you in your business, what are the things that you're able to accomplish now that you want to be able to continue to, and where are things not working as well as they should? And that's how you're able to identify the pain points and then bring a better solution and bring a better life for them. All right. So again, we're going to cover a few situations today, a few specific merchant requests, and we're going to try to give you guys a quick look at what's going to work and what's not going to work. So I need ACH, right? So you all have, I'm sure, encountered some businesses where they're going to need ACH, okay? And it's maybe easier in this case to start with some technologies where ACH is not going to be possible, or it's going to be cumbersome and difficult. And so some of those right now, Valor, Swipe Simple, CardPoint. Some things that you want to consider, and the merchant needs to consider when we're talking about ACH would be, is there a setup fee? Are there monthly fees? Are there ACH per transaction fees? Are we able to mark up ACH and potentially get some residuals, get a percentage on those ACH transactions, because a lot of ACH you're not able to do markup. Okay. Some of the best options here would be, we've recently partnered with a company called Paya, and also Deja Vu integrates with Paya, right? So if you have a merchant that needs ACH, if say the iPause Pays system with Deja Vu works really well for them, and you also want to be able to have some markup on that ACH to help add to your residuals, Deja Vu combined with Paya can be a great solution. I'm going to stop share. Actually, I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to pull up our solutions deck really fast to just highlight a few things. So let me share that. Again, we've referenced this solutions deck many times. And again, this is going to be your quick go-to tool. You all have relationship managers that are going to be able to get you this information, but sometimes you need a quick answer, right? So you should definitely have this on immediate access. So when you come over to the Gateway tab of the solutions deck, if you scroll over a bit, you're able to see ACH setup fees, ACH monthlies, per transaction, premiums, batches, quarterly fees, ACH return. There's a bunch of different ACH categories in here. So some things to highlight really fast would be, for ACH setup, there is a $25 ACH setup for NMI and Fluid Pay, so that may not be ideal. In addition to, $15 monthly. So 25 upfront and $15 a month is, that's, you can see right here, that's on the more expensive end, right? You have many other options here where there is no ACH setup fee and it's just going to be $10 a month. Okay. So again, you want to be able to consider that. You want to be able to think about that ahead of time. You want to know what's not going to be available to you, and also what's going to be most affordable, to your merchants. All right. So let me go ahead. I'm going to come on back here to our slides. All right, so again, best options here, probably Deja Vu with Paya, both in terms of great omni-channel technology with Deja Vu, plus the ability to bring in Paya for ACH that you can mark up. I need text to pay, okay? Very popular nowadays. People want to be able to, text out and get someone to pay direct by text with their phone, okay? So a great deal, many of these gateway technologies are going to allow for text to pay. A couple of options that are in very high use out there right now, like Authorize.net and NMI, you don't have the ability to do text to pay with those gateways. Okay, so again, lots of good options here. One thing a lot of people don't, less of our agents right now are boarding people on Fluid Pay, but in addition, there's an additional consideration there that there is a cost per text with Fluid Pay. You're probably not going to go with them when you're boarding with us. Lots of good options here. Again, HMS Pay, Valor, Deja Vu, and many others are good here. You got to be aware that a lot of times someone comes in and they've used Authorize.net for a while. Okay, you might go out there and you might talk to a merchant. You know, Authorize has been around a while. You know, they're using Authorize.net. They might not want to move, you know, because they're comfortable with Authorize.net. You give them a reason to move and say, hey, well, have you ever wanted to send text, you know, text to pay? Yeah, yeah, well, I guess that would be really useful. Okay, well, we got to get you off Authorize.net. Let's talk about what we can do to move you. Hosted payment pages, also very popular. Lots of options here. Okay, again, not an option with Authorize.net or Fluid Pay. Okay, so again, HMS Pay, NMI this time does have hosted payment page, Swipe Simple, iPause Pays with Deja Vu, Valor Paytech, and more. Okay, but again, you need to be aware that Authorize.net's not going to be a solution there. If you got someone that's on Authorize.net and they're thinking that they don't want to move, you know that, okay, well, with Authorize.net, they're not able to do text to pay. They're also not able to do a hosted payment page, right? And you're able to ask kind of probing questions. Hey, would it be nice for you to be able to put up you know, to put up a hosted payment page where someone can go and they can just make a payment at any time? Would it be nice to be able to send a text and have that show up to the person right there in the moment where they can pay right in front of you? Okay, so again, part of this is about, you know, winning business away from people that are maybe indecisive about wanting to move. You got to hit a pain point. It may even be a pain point that they've not really thought about too much, but if you can be knowledgeable and you know that Authorize.net's not going to be able to do text to pay and hosted payment page, you can introduce a pain. That might sound bad, but introduce a pain, or at least introduce an opportunity. Better to talk about it that way, right? Introduce an opportunity for them to take payments better, you know, and then want to make a move. All right, QR code payments. If anyone's up for a laugh, you could scan the QR code. But for QR code payments, not a lot of options out there. Again, if you take a look in your solutions deck, and we're going to get back in there in a minute, but there's not a lot of options for QR code payments. Okay, I've had a lot of, maybe not a ton, but I have had some people where this was very important. They wanted to set up a QR code, you know, on a table, you know, whether it's at there's going to be a festival that I'm going to go to here in a few weeks for Somerville, the Flower Festival or the Flower Town. And there's going to be a lot of people there that I'll be able to talk to that are going to not have, you know, that QR code there where you can just scan it and make payments right there. At one of my son's baseball games, they had it set up where you could take a QR code payment. Have to pay on phone. This one I've been getting quite a bit. A lot of merchants want to be able to, in the field, take tap to pay payments on their phone. They don't want to buy an extra device. They don't feel like they need an extra device. They want to be able to operate as much as they can without carrying additional things to plug in. They want to just be able to do tap to pay on their phone. Okay, so tap to pay on the phone. We've covered this in some of the recent Trenches episodes. We've talked about how Valor, how Deja Vu, and Swipe Simple all enable this. Okay, and so you want to be able to find out, okay, how am I going to make, how can I make this business's life easier? And again, if you think about someone that's going to be on the go, that's not necessarily going to be taking payments in their office, they're going to be doing it out in the field. Tap to pay on phone might be, you know, a big win, as well as sometimes it can be a barrier to, you know, paying for technology to get somebody to move. Well, if you can bring someone over, if you can say, hey, you don't have to buy any devices. If you're good taking payments on your cell phone, then you can just, we can set you up with Valor or Deja Vu or Swipe Simple, and you can take, the card present payments on your phone, kind of out in the field. Okay, so these are really good options, especially for people that are, one or two person businesses that are going to be out, and they want to just take a payment, but they don't want to get a whole hardware setup. All right, mobile payment acceptance. I'm going to bring up the solutions deck on this because this is something that changes quite a bit, and it's also a bit too much for me to put in here. Okay, but we do get more and more questions about, okay, I want to be able to take Google Pay. I want to be able to take Apple Pay. I want to be able to take PayPal. Okay, Eric, thank you. Just corrected me. Authorize.net, he's telling me that they do have a hosted payment page. Okay, so have to take that out of the Rolodex, or out of the spiel that I gave you just a second ago. Thanks for letting me know that, Eric. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen here. Let's go ahead and share solutions deck. All right, so again, this thing is going to be your best friend, okay? And you're going to want to do your due diligence ahead of time as much as you can, okay? But if you scroll over here, under column X, way over here, some of you might not have even made it over this far. Okay, you're able to see mobile payment acceptance. Okay, might be a little bit hard to read here, but again, you can see that HMS Pay has Apple Pay and Google Pay. It doesn't have PayPal. Um, can't even see what Authorize.net does have all three of those. Okay, several of the other technologies in here have Apple Pay and Google Pay. Okay, so that's NMI and Fluid Pay have those. For iPhone only, Swipe Simple has Apple Pay and Google Pay. Okay, all right, so you got to look at their phone. What type of phone? If he's got an Android, if the business owner has an Android, then that's not going to be a fit for them. Okay, right down here, Apple Pay and Google Pay. We've got iPause Pays. I believe maybe Eric, you can jump in here. Right? We don't have on here that Apple Pay and Google Pay are available on Valor Paytech. So I'm going to go with that, but I'm going to be open to you correcting me here. I feel like there's a chance that might be a thing that might be available there. But for now, we're going to say that it's available on Deja Vu iPause as well as some of the others, but that's actually maybe not a fit on Valor. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop share there. And let me get back here to the presentation. Okay. Get my face out of the way. All right. So those were just a few options. Those were just a few things today. And I told you we were going to get you guys out of here fast today. We are going to wind up ending up early. I feel like this probably concludes our kind of deeper dives on technology, what technologies can do certain things, what technologies cannot do other things. We're going to start getting into more specific sales conversation situations, things like, gas stations, I want to go sell a gas station. What do I need to know about a gas station? We've obviously talked about mobile readers, tap to pay. We didn't talk about invoices today, sending invoices today. If you guys have questions about, I'm probably not going to do an entire episode on which of these technologies will allow me to send invoices, but I encourage you to reach out to me or to your relationship managers, and we can get that for you. We talked about ACH today. We did not talk about QuickBooks integration. I'm probably not going to do an entire episode either on QuickBooks integration. Eric, you can feel free to jump in here. Off the top of my head, QuickBooks integration, we do have, there's a QuickBooks integration with iPause Pays. There's a QuickBooks integration with Valor Paytech. Those QuickBooks integrations are not as comprehensive as something like a Biller Genie. Our in-house software solutions, the Cloud Studio Suite or the the Cloud Manager suite, including Cloud Studio Manager, Cloud Job Manager, all that. Eric says swipe simple now at an additional cost. I think I'm thinking that's for QuickBooks integration. That's right. They did mention that. So Swipe Simple does have a QuickBooks integration for an additional cost. Lost my train of thought there.
I'll actually chime in on that just real quick. So
Okay,
the
sure.
Swipe Simple integration, for those in the meeting right now, we did add on the Swipe Simple Marketplace, which allows merchants to essentially go in kind of like Clover, download their own applications, and it charges them directly. But the opening three, I forget what they are, but one of them is a QuickBooks integration. It's a light integration, similar to Valor and Deja Vu, but it's something to take a look at. So that will be available for any merchant that's already using Swipe Simple. Basically, when they log in, they'll see a marketplace on the left-hand side, and they can go from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for chiming in there. Differences between retail and restaurants, things you need to be aware of. The omni-channel solutions, we talked a lot about omni-channel solutions today. In particular, we had a lot of times Valor and Deja Vu came up. It's possible that we do another episode. You guys let me know if you want me to kind of do a quick comparison of, iPause Pays versus Valor Paytech and the omni-channel solutions. That might be a worthwhile episode. I feel like people probably want us to get into the individual use cases, like help me go attack a gas station, help me help me go convert a Toast user, over to Clover so that I can get that account. Okay. I feel like that's probably where we're going to go, possible omni-channel solution breakdown. But again, we're here for your suggestions. The goal of us doing this every week is we're trying to add tons of value to you guys. We want to equip you with everything you need to get there and win more business, and definitely appreciate you guys hopping in and joining us on a weekly basis. Remember, help us help you. Reach out with questions, reach out with suggestions, reach out with demo requests. Again, that Cloud Manager suite is still, but not, I've been saying this for a little while, but the company's not going to let me continue giving that away for free forever. And it's going to be, we're going to have to start charging for it soon. Company's made a massive investment in that Cloud Manager suite. Every single week I'm talking with people that are like, yeah, just let me get in. Well, I know this is going to be free for life, because the software keeps getting better every single day, right? So schedule those demo requests. Reach out to me directly. You can reach out to your RM. We'll facilitate. Merchants are usually very anxious to ditch hundreds of dollars a month in software costs, okay? And tremendous value add. You're going to be saving them not only on their payment processing, but you're going to be saving them hundreds of dollars a month on their software. And they're not going to have to pay for software to run their business. And again, those software costs just keep going up. I talked with a yoga studio in California that they have been using MindBody and that for years, and that cost just keeps going up. And who knows we don't know where it's going to go. But if you bring someone over and they get their foot in the door with Cloud Manager, it's going to be zero for them forever, right? So tremendous value opportunity, tremendous value proposition. Anyone that's in any sort of vertical that you think might be a fit, even if you're not sure, reach out to me and I'll let you know if I feel like it'll be a fit. And if it could be a fit, we'll do a demo. And if it's going to be, it could be a great way to earn some business and win some business. So thanks so much for joining me today. And we'll see you back in the trenches next week. Eric, thanks again for all the help.